right. So we talked about the characters. Now we're going to break down some of, in our opinion, the biggest moments in We Who Will Die by Stasia Stark. Everyone, welcome back to Pages and Perspectives. We are back with Kylie to finish our We Who Will Die discussion. I'm excited to keep this discussion going.
Me too.
Okay. So we've talked about our main characters. We've gotten our general feel on them going.
Mm-hmm.
In this book, what moment really hit you in the feels? Had you kind of sitting there just drowning in emotion?
Drowning in emotion. First was when we find out that she really didn't kill the person that she thought she killed.
Okay, yeah.
That part made me gasp. Oh, like, holy cow. And that was not even halfway through the book, I think. But the one that had me in my feels was when she had the letter from her best friend.
That's a good one. I felt
that one
bad. Like that letter changed, in my opinion, it changed everything. You know what I mean? Like that letter.
Quote wise, our friendship was the greatest gift of my life. And that really, it is. Girl friendships and girl bonds are so important.
They are.
Yeah.
Yeah, without a doubt. And I feel like it almost, like, not that it would have absolved her guilt, but like she beat herself up so much for her friend dying, what she didn't do, what she could have done. And meanwhile, her friend was like, look, I could very well die and I want you to keep going. Instead, she sulked in misery for 6 years. Yep. And I got why the Leon held on to it, because like I can't imagine the grief of like losing a child, especially like that. But then part of me was like mad at him because I was like, she needed this. She needed that note. But he already felt guilty for not giving it.
Yeah.
So,
and he kind of went through his own journey too, because, he needed to go with her to the Sundering. Like, he needed to have that moment of healing in his heart too with her. And I think, her beating herself up about her friend dying. And I think when people die young, I can't speak from experience, but when people die young, I would think there's a guilt or a sadness that they didn't have a fulfilled life. And so that letter let her know that my heart and my life was fulfilled in a way, kind of thing, without her really, saying that.
Yeah, no, that's true. Because it's different when, like, the 89-year-old dies. Yes. And you're like, look, I'm sad, but they lived a full life. This is just nature. Yes. She was essentially murdered. Yeah, she was essentially murdered over a man. Like, if we really break down to it, this was a revenge killing over a dude nobody even ended up with, which is wild in itself.
For a game. For a game. Yeah.
It's a good one. Not that I forgot about it, but that's a really good one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what got me was when we were getting like the flashback, and she's kind of, I believe she was speaking to Tiernan, and she was giving him like what happened on essentially the worst day of her life. And she's talking about like she watches on the day of like everything went to crap, and how she had to go to her drug-riddled mother and like tell her like, hey, and like the way the scene was written, I could picture the like kind of glazed over eyes. The mom wasn't kind of responsive, very depressed sounding. Like, it was very well written in that sense.
Yeah.
But she had to basically ask her mother to watch her mother's own children to keep them safe, because she needed to go to these trials so she could try to win money for their family. So she's got a lot of pressure on her. She shouldn't be responsible for her brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And then she asks her mom to watch them, and her mom doesn't watch them, which leads to the whole mine incident, which happens on the same day her best friend dies. And it's like, as a mother, that just like broke my heart to just read, like the disappointment, the expectation, she just wasn't doing what a mom needed to be doing for her children.
And to have your mom is supposed to be that one person that you can run to no matter what. And she had to walk into that moment knowing that her mother was her last resort.
Which is so sad.
And still knowing that you're having to reach out to the last person you want to reach out to take care of something so important to you is tough.
And I think that got me too, because it's like, I don't leave my son with many people to begin with. It's like, he goes to school, which was a whole trust building process, but like it's grandma, grandpa, aunts, and uncles, and like I have Tamisha back there, and that's about it that I'm going to leave him with. can't imagine leaving him with someone that like I didn't really trust, but I didn't have a choice.
Mhm. And we relate to that with the military because so often our village is so small. And so
Mm-hmm.
for her, it was even smaller. And so we definitely felt that moment for her.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was I thought it was soul crushing. And
Yeah,
then
that one was
I
tough.
think another moment that hit me really emotionally, and I know how you feel about our boy Tiernan, but when they're kind of having like they're back together in their own way and they're like having all these revelations and he says like I missed you more than I missed the sun, which
Mm.
in the real world sounds absolutely insane, but like knowing he's a vampire and that like in this particular series they can be in the sun for a little bit and then that gets taken away from them, which is like so much crueler than if they were just
Mhm.
born that way. I'm like, that's just that's like an unexpected way to tell someone how much you love them that I felt like hit so deep and was also so
Yeah.
depressing. This is like this man is his life is nothing but misery.
Yeah.
Like he's just he has no son, his dad's torturing him, like he can't be with the woman he loves. It was just it didn't hit me as hard as the mom one, and I think that's because of a personal like relation to the situation, but I
Mhm.
thought it was rough.
Yeah, those moments where they talk about missing the sun were emotional because I couldn't imagine. Some of my favorite season is summer. I couldn't imagine stepping outside and not feeling the warmth of the sun on my
Right?
face ever again, really. And truly just enjoying it, not counting down the seconds to when I need to be back in the darkness. So yeah, those moments were rough.
Yeah, like I get that. Like, you know, if I'm already a little bit seasonally depressed and then it's an overcast day, my whole my whole day is ruined.
Yes.
I'm like, I need my fake sun. I need something. And then the sun comes out and I'm like a new person. So I'm like,
Yep.
oh, that's a dark way to live.
Yes.
Okay. So we kind of talked about the sad, because I was all sad. It kind of hit us in the feels, but then also like triumph.
Hmm.
What moment for you had your jaw on the floor? Like, I'm a good way, bad way, something that had you absolutely shook that you're like, I can't believe I'm reading this or I didn't see this coming.
I know throughout the whole book, I felt like it was a Game of Thrones episode in that I couldn't trust anyone, even if they were I mean, I felt like I could not trust anyone. I couldn't trust her best friend's dad. I couldn't trust her new friend in the Sundering, Maeve, right? I felt like I couldn't
I was
trust
so
anyone.
suspicious. I
So
was so
suspicious of
suspicious.
everyone. And I'm still not 100% sold. So the jury's still out really on everyone. But I think the biggest surprise was Bran at the end.
Yeah, I did not.
I didn't see
I
it
knew he was
coming.
yeah, I knew he was sketchy because like someone who blackmails someone and then like lets them watch their brother start to die in front of them, we got some issues. That had been established.
Yeah, yeah.
But I just didn't see like the depth of how messed up he was coming, or the fact that like he himself was like almost like her mother, like he was an addict.
Yeah. Well, and
But once again, like
he was related.
yes,
That
oh
was
my
the part where I
gosh,
was like, I didn't see that coming at all. Like I think I remember reading and being like, "Oh, what?" So
I
that
did.
was cool.
Yes, now you've been. I had to like double back because I'm like, wait a minute.
I
Like
know.
sometimes you misread
How?
something,
Yeah.
or like you're kind of at the end of the book, so you're doing a little bit of the like, ooh, I'm kind of reading a little faster than I should be.
Yes. Yeah, because it gets so
That,
exciting. Oops.
yeah, you're like, I just want to know what happens. Oh my
Yes.
god, yes, that was wild.
That was wild.
Bran was just he is a pain in the ass from the start. But yes, I
Yes.
didn't see that. I liked that that wasn't predictable to me personally, anyway.
Same, because I feel like sometimes I can predict those things, and I didn't catch that one.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
I almost not that I forgot about Bran, but there's so many other things going on that like in the back of my mind, he was just the guy blackmailing her that got her here. But
Yeah,
like
he
I
wasn't
wasn't.
the immediate threat.
No, he was just kind of in the background. Like we knew he was an issue. We knew he was like she was having that impulse to kill the emperor because they're bond. We knew all that,
Yeah,
but it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't an immediate like we're over here with the love triangle and people
yeah,
are being murdered and the emperor's a psychopath. Like at no point was he on my radar
yeah.
at like the top in any way. What really threw me off personally was finding out that Rorik was actually the reason that sigil mark and vampires can't like crossbreed. Like he
Ah,
is sigil mark vampire, and he has, how I understood it, more power than his dad has, and could overthrow him should he choose. Which that's a
yes,
whole other thing. So it's like,
exactly. And it's kind of wondering, like, what is it that his father's holding on him or has
yes,
to keep him
like
from
why
not,
hasn't
going scorched earth?
yes, because in my head I'm like, if you have all this power, we all know your father's a horrible man,
Yeah.
and like you're essentially killing people to protect your little brother so he doesn't have to do it. But like if you could over like he has to have something good, and I have a feeling it has something to do with Arvel. I can't prove that,
Mm.
but I feel like it does because of something I read a little later, which very nicely transition us to our theories.
Okay.
My okay, obviously not the focus of the book, but a very important part. Who do we think is Endgame? Who do you
Mm.
think of these two brothers she's going to end up with?
I think it's going to be Rorik.
Knew you're
That's
just
my theory. That's what I think the roads would lead to. I think it also would be an epic story that led to that. As where, I mean, honestly, think about it. If we stop with T, then it's just kind of wrapped up in a nice little bow. Like, it's got to be Rorik, right?
I feel I'm like, okay, I'm torn because
Oh.
I think it's Rorik, just like based off of how these books tend to go. And
Hmm.
then, excuse me, I I remember it was almost like thrown in there as an afterthought in that last little chunk of the book where like everything's popping off, things are going crazy. But they mentioned that, and maybe I read this wrong, but this like really stuck with me. That Rorik had like seen her first or something. he
Mm.
had he had come in contact with her first, but she didn't know it. Like it was like thrown out there, and even I remember she was like, "Wait, what?" But then it was like everything was moving so quickly, it just got
Yes.
passed over. So that's giving me very much like fated mate vibe, where it's like the only reason she's even with his brother is because either the brother kind of stepped in and swooped her, or it was just timing. I feel like book two will tell us more, but it leads
Yeah.
me to believe that everything Rourke has done up until this point has been to protect her because he's known about her even though she hasn't known about him, or she's known about him like the real him. So I feel,
My
I think I just
my
have
my theory is that Rorik saw Arvel first. Saw Arvel first, and it was like instant attraction. There was an attraction there. Something went down between Rorik and Tiernan, and Tiernan stole those memories
oh
from
shit,
Arvel. And that's why Rorik is in the archives looking at those spells. He's trying to find a way to make
no,
those memories come back.
that's wild.
And that's the awful thing that T said that he did, that's like kind of unforgivable, in that he basically stole his like fated mate. That's where I see it going. That's my theory.
But
I think that would be
to me,
epic.
that's a very valid theory, and it's not something that would shock me. This wind is really getting me. It's not something that would, the way these books go, that's not something that would shock me if it's like I did it, but I did it because I love you. Because these books are full of men, women,
Yeah.
whoever doing what
Imperfect
they,
people. Yeah.
yes, and doing what they deem necessary to keep their loved ones out. They're doing it because they love them, but like it's still fucked up, or it still takes a
Yeah,
space from
yeah.
them. And you're like, no, this is something that like is so wrong that you did. I can't overlook it. And so
Correct.
that wouldn't shock me, and that's gonna piss me off because I have such I have such I have such a soft spot for Tryon, and that's why I said I'm torn because it's
That's
like
funny.
I went from like I feel bad for the dude. Oh,
Yeah.
I was mad at him. I was mad at him first because I'm like, this woman's life went to crap and you weren't there. And then we find out, well, he wasn't there because he was protecting her and he's being tortured by his dad and he never gave up her name and he's
Mhm.
been thinking about her nonstop for 6 years. So I'm like, oh, this man deserves love. But then I'm like, but what has everything Rorik done? And what's this horrible thing Tyrion done? Like, I'm missing pieces. So I
Yes.
feel like I'm having a soft spot for this man and I'm going to regret it.
I don't know. I mean, both things can be true at the exact same time. I mean, Tiernan's story could be very sad and we could still have this really soft spot for him, or
Like he's just
and
not the person.
but he's just not in game, as where, like, if it's a fated mate situation, then, like, how do you argue with that, Tiernan? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
see, I'm a big sucker for the fated mate concept.
uh-huh.
And that being said, and I don't think it's going to go this direction. I'm just praying it doesn't turn into like a why choose.
Mm.
I'm not. That's not like not to
I
get
don't.
someone pop off. People love that. It works. That's fantastic. It's not
Yeah.
my personal preference. Because I'm really much a hopeless
Well, and
romantic.
not with brothers.
Yeah, no, that's girl. But there are some books out there.
There
There are
are. There are.
books I typically read. But there are books out there. But it's like to me that kind of takes away like the hopeless romantic aspect of like no,
Yes.
this is my one person, my whole world, my everything, the universe to me. If we're like sharing it with a bunch of other people, but like that's just my personal feeling in these books of not real people and not real worlds. Um,
I agree.
okay,
I don't think it's going to be a why choose situation.
I don't. Yeah, I'm hoping and praying she doesn't do that to us.
I think.
So I've agreed. Tiernan can have a sad story, and he can be a character we're passionate about, but maybe not endgame. So
Mhm.
have you written him off, or do you think there's hope, or do you think whatever news he's going to share or dark secret he's going to share is going to be something that you're just like he's got to go?
I'm a pretty cut and dry gal. I pretty much am like, you're done. Rourke's in game, and that's how it's happening in my mind. Now
That's the
and that's what'll make the shock that much crazier if it's not that way, because I'll be like, oh, I totally wrote him off.
like, start recording. We need to talk about it.
Yeah, yeah. Cut this out if he ends up not being in game.
I'm I I'm like again. I don't know if it's because we read so many of these, but I'm almost scared that like he's gonna turn into like a Tamlin or like some of these stereotypical first MMCs
Mm,
where he again because we're talking theories, but where he sides with Daddy because he thinks he's doing the right thing, but he's
mm.
wrong. But he's doing the wrong thing, thinking he's doing it for the right reason, but no, it's just the wrong thing. You
Yeah,
know what I
and
mean?
I'll say this. I don't know I don't know Tiernan.
We
Anytime that
really
he's
don't.
like talked to her or said things, it's in agreement with her. Or uh-huh, yeah. Okay. He's never
And
like
he is
fully
still
stated.
hiding a lot.
Right, right. It's like, yeah, yeah, we could do that, or this is why. I mean, he never fully goes into an explanation or like his emotions or where his mind is at. So you really don't know. I don't know if he's gonna like side with Daddy, but I could see if we're gonna go like kind of an evil route where maybe
Yeah.
like he wants to take over, so that way there is like, it's kind of like when the evil person doesn't realize that they're evil, they're just kind of like the lesser of two evils, and
Yeah.
they think
Like they're still
what.
not great, but they're not like murdering innocents, but they're still kind of messed up.
Correct.
Yeah.
Like you're passionate, but your path to get there isn't necessarily the correct way to do that.
I can definitely see him turning on his brother, like
Mhm.
easily, especially if he feels like they're in competition for the same woman.
Yeah.
Especially because his dad has already kind of set it up perfectly where the brothers are in competition. The brothers don't get along, and like he hates his brother for like Turnon hates Rorik for like
Oh,
killing.
I just came
Hmm,
up with something. Okay,
wait, now I need
so
to know.
okay, yeah, it just hit me as we were having this conversation.
Theories
So,
are theories are so fun to discuss because you're just
yes.
it can be completely wild, but you're like, wait a minute.
Okay, so technically Rorik and Tiernan aren't same mom. They don't have the same
No,
mom.
no, they're like half brothers. Yeah,
Right. So, what if the emperor does die and he makes it so that Tiernan becomes the new emperor?
because he could.
And
Because remember, he did that whole reversal thing where like Rorik isn't his automatic successor. He set
right.
that up. And Bran was trying to sneak in there, and it was like, whoa.
Yeah, yeah. And so what if it's something like that, and then that's where that conflict kind of also comes between the brothers?
So a battle for the crown and a battle for the woman.
May
Got
Yeah,
the double. Ooh,
that might be good.
dude.
That might be
Yes,
good.
I feel like it could go any direction because we really reached like she did good ending this book in the sense that like ooh my thing moved in the sense that like now I'm really like we need book two because we really reached like the climax and like this last like boop this last little
Yes.
bit all it did was leave questions and now it's like we need to know more about Rorik and his story and why he's done. What do you mean he knew who Arvel was before? And like, what do you mean now the crown is not up for grabs, but like it could be either brother? Like, there's a lot.
There is a lot. This next book is going to be really good.
Now I'm very excited.
Me too.
Okay, another thing that I've kind of seen floating around: the mine accident. This seemed almost too perfect
Yeah.
because if the mine accident didn't happen, then she would have no need of Bran, and Bran would have nothing to blackmail her with, and then pretty much this book wouldn't exist. This whole book is based off of mom not keeping track of her kids and her kids getting hurt, essentially. None of this happens without that. Do you think that Bran, or I'm going to say some other vampire, or some other being, was calculated enough to kind of set this up like 6 years prior? Like, this has been in the making? Because if we're being honest, she has had no control over any part of her life for like 300, 400 pages.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like it could be that far-fetched.
Gosh, I don't know if it's like long-term planned out, but I also have a theory that Tiernan was the one that caused the mine accident. Like he was mad at daddy or something like that, and that was going to be his little rebellion, not realizing that like her siblings were going to be there, and that's why he's never brought it up, and he's had this guilt.
They were just lateral. They just happened to be wrong place. That would be like he knew he was never going to see her again. He knew he was probably going to be, taken, tortured, whatever. So he was like,
it was his like kind of temper tantrum before, and then it happened. That's my theory.
I didn't even think of that. That's so much better. Excuse me. That's so much better than me thinking that Bran was like that thorough, because he has that big secret, and like her brothers are her everything. Her brothers are her why, and her brother has suffered. So that's something that's not redeemable.
No.
If he's the person who caused Bran all this, or not Bran, caused her brother all this pain, and then gave Bran,
well, and then Hop Town,
yeah.
and then and it's one thing if you bring it up. It's another if I find out. That's even worse, because it's like you were hiding it from me and you thought I was too dumb to know. And as an eldest daughter, we don't like being told that we're dumb or made to think that we don't know what's going on.
I am obsessed with that theory. Oh no, that's because he has we've definitely hit on like what my secrets are. We can't come back from, and she's like, I love you, I follow you anywhere. But like, let's be honest, people say that, but everybody, no matter how much you love someone, fated mates, real world love, whatever, everyone has a point where you're like, we simply cannot. That is too messed up.
Yeah,
we simply cannot return. Accident or not, I can never look at you the same again.
Correct.
Especially knowing that like it's one thing for an accident to happen, it's another thing to hide it from me for a decade, instead of just coming clean and then maybe, but probably not, we can fix it. Oh, that might be my new favorite theory.
That was a good one. That was a good one.
Okay. Final theory that I've seen floating around that I actually don't have an answer. Well, I guess I kind of have an answer for.
Okay.
Arvel's dad. Like, we know he can't be a vampire. I believe that's been established. She's in the sun. She's too old to be in the sun if she's a vampire. But she's extremely powerful, and we've had all the mention of these gods, like the ones the vampires worship, the ones the sigil mark worship, and how they're different and crossover and blah 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 blah. And there's homeboy god who like wants to be released to destroy the world, and she's hearing from him now in her head at the end. I feel like her dad has to be, I don't want to say the evil god, but like he's in her head.
Yeah.
And then also there's no way she's just like a normal sigil mark. She's taking these powers from people when she kills them. Like, she's growing stronger and stronger. She's clearly important. Like, we haven't gotten the full extent of her importance, but she's very clearly not just some girl.
Right.
What do you think?
I think her dad is the god of death.
Yep.
And that's why she can read the old language when she's in the
in the library.
Yeah. And that's my theory there. Because even in, I think, like the history or the lore, it says something like this god was here and then he left or something like that. And so like I think that was around the time that like she was conceived. And so if that's the case, then I guess that makes her a demigod. So I don't know if that changes how like they
Yeah.
communicate, and maybe, I don't know. That's my theory, is that her father is the god of
No,
death.
I agree. I also am a little curious because all the history we've received on the God of Death, which like just hearing the title, you're like, yeah, that's probably not a great person, or God.
Yeah.
But they're not always evil. And sometimes I've learned reading these books, the other gods, because in these books, I feel like the gods are always selfish. The gods always want more power. The gods always want control over the dominion, the people, whatever. They want control. They're power driven.
Right.
So I'm curious because the history they're receiving is from all the other gods. Oh, he's horrible. He's unstopped. Like he needs to be put away. Blah blah blah. But what if that's all a lie? Like I don't doubt he's probably done messed up things. They all have. But like, what if he's been made out to be this villain and she needs to break him out for the
Ooh,
greater?
maybe.
You know what I
Maybe.
mean? I don't know. I just don't trust the history retelling
Yeah, because it
from
could be he maybe comes back and like rids the world of vampires or something like that. And when I say rid them, I don't mean, rid them and like off them. I mean like just rid I mean, are we gonna call it that, like a curse of being a vampire?
the sun. Yeah, like he
Yeah.
could. That's what I'm saying. I feel like it's so much more complex, and I'm like, there's so much we don't know. It's
I
killing me.
know. Immediately after this conversation, we go pre-order We Who Will Rise.
Yeah, because okay, that's the good news. So right now, because we have all these theories that we need answers to, so well done, Stasia Stark, because
Yes.
you have me on the hook. You did your job as an author. You have me on the hook. Um, Book two, We Who Will Rise, is currently scheduled for January 2027, which isn't that far off. We're less than a
Nope.
year. Thankfully, we're less than a year, and I'll be able to look back on this and see our theories before diving into that one because I want to see how much we're right or wrong about.
Yep.
So we've read it. We love it. If you have not read it yet, I would suggest adding it to your TBR. You have some time, but you're going to
Hmm.
want to get this done before the beginning of 2027 so that you can dive right into We Who Will Rise.
Yep. The hype was real.
It was worth it. The
It was
hype
worth
was
it.
there's
Yeah.
a reason this is blowing up on social media.
Yes.
It's justifiably so. But thank you guys for joining us. We'd love to hear your thoughts, your own theories. Please share away, and we look forward to discussing those later. Bye.
Bye.